All right, what's good, everyone? Welcome to Livewire Sports Media Unfiltered First and 10. Yes, if you have been on this channel, it's been rebranded, reconfigured. I combined my Washington Commanders and Miami Hurricanes channel together to bring you one big football channel along with NFL and college news. Now, speaking of college news, we got a doozy for you. Shamar Moore, who took over for Jim Harbaugh after a slew of investigations in college football of the University of Michigan, where Jim Harbaugh has banned from the University of Michigan, but he's left. He's in the NFL. But Shamar Moore, who were recently fired yesterday, and then turned around, got arrested for. Now there's a whole lot of craziness that's coming out with this. Some say that there was a 911 call, which I will play that because TSZ has attained that. You had Jamel Hill come out today, say that his firing is been because he's black. He had an inappropriate racial relationship with a staffer who looks no more about 23, 25 years old. This man has a family, a wife, and kids. There's a lot of stuff that's going on with him, saying that he was suicidal, he was facing mental health. It's a lot to unpack and uncover. But as you know, as Livewire Sports, I'm going to continue to bring the heat to you. So let's dive into this real quick. Now that's Shamar Moore right there. The first art, let's go to the part where he was fired. I don't want to go all the way down because there's a lot to impact right here. A lot to impact. Man, it's so much. I don't even know how much I'm going to keep up with it. So, all right. So that's Shamar Moore right there. Said Michigan coach jailed and alleged assault hours after he was fired from his $30 million job for affair with a staffer. Now, the Pittsfield police responded to the department just minutes before Michigan announced Sherrone Moore has been fired. Now, the University of Michigan has uncovered evidence of an inappropriate relationship with a staffer. Moore had signed a deal in 2024 that will pay him roughly $6 million per season all the way through 2029. His buyout was listed at $13.89 million, the second lowest among Big Ten coaches, because he had to prove himself. And I think the university was going to move off from him anyway. The fact of the matter is because he lost to Ohio State. Now, I said this earlier. Ohio State and Michigan don't care what your record is through the season. If you don't beat your rivalries, we seen it with Ryan Day last year when he was under the gun, when he lost to Michigan. And luckily, he did went on to win the national championship. But your job is never safe at Michigan. Now, Jim Harbaugh, he did it because he was beating Michigan and beating Ohio State while he was there. Not in the beginning, but he was. Anyway, because of his firing, Michigan may avoid paying some of all of his buyout. Now, they could come to terms to pay out half of it. Now, his buyout is only $13.89 million. Now, I don't know how much they could come to the conclusion of that. Sherrone Moore might feel like he's been wrongfully accused. He could sue them, and if he lose, he might not get nothing. Now, listen to this.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Humble, honored to represent this great university as your head football coach. We wouldn't be in this position without these guys, the players. So they're the reason why we're here, why we continue to stay and keep this thing rolling.
All right, so I'm gonna move further on. So Michigan fines are nearly quadruple the previous record high. Tennessee $8 million. So Now, somebody, I didn't even get the chance to listen to this a little bit. They're playing the old Luke Campbell. Now, in that picture, that's the young lady who he been with. That's the young lady who he has been with. Now, this right here, somebody pulled this, showed me this today and said that he was paying out money to this young lady, administrative specialist athletics, 58,000 to UNN Arbor, change from the last fiscal year. That's crazy. Say that Sherrone Moore story gets crazier. Moore gave the girl he was cheated on his wife with a 55% increase in pay out of nowhere. He wasn't even trying to hide what he was doing. A beautiful wife, multiple kids, and millions of dollars all thrown away. Mm-mm. This is his mugshot right here by Academics TV. Head coach Sherrone Moore alleged threatened to kill himself during an argument with his wife after getting fired and fumbling a $13 million contract. He then drove and broke into a home of assistant Paige Shivers, who he was having an affair with, and held a knife to his throat and threatened to kill himself and her. He was then intercepted by the local church after his wife and 3 kids provided his phone location to the authorities. He is now in protective custody. That's crazy. You pretty much sacrifice your whole life, your whole career just for a affair when you easily could have. Now, we know that Urban Meyer has been there. We know that the guy from Michigan State has been there. We know Shannon Sharp has been there. We know Ime Udoka for the Boston Celtics. He's been there. But at the same time, why? Now, we see it in regular life as it is too, because there's cops, there's the doctors, all these people do the same thing. Everybody that's in a higher power seems like they so much invincible that they could go ahead and say, well, you know, I could do whatever I want. I could go ahead and do this. I could do that. But at the end of the day, you can't. You can't do that because the fact of the matter is you're going to risk losing your family. Simple as that. You're going to risk losing your family. And that's what he did. Now, there's some more stuff to this situation. Some more stuff. Now, here is his wife and family right here. This is his wife and family. Beautiful family. That beautiful family. And this is the girl he cheated with. This is the girl he cheated with. Right here. And she got rich because he paid her all that money. He paid her all that money. I'm trying to find now. There we go. Right here. Look.
Or the girl now that everybody knows was the one that was the quote unquote home wrecker, the one that got pregnant, the one that had an abortion, the one that still probably wants to have a professional life in the sports world. Obviously, we know he's probably going to be done for a little while. Who do you think could possibly feel worse?
Well, he's obviously going to be the one that takes all the fire. You know, she's gonna get hit with some shrapnel from it, but she is just as guilty as he is. I mean, let's be clear on this. I don't care about the power structure. You can say whatever. She was some sort of recruiting position. She knew what she was doing. This is a grown adult. She wasn't forced into anything with him. She made a choice to get with a married man, to have unprotected sex with a married man, to continue that affair with him. And yes, there's a little bit of a disposition and power there, but she deserves whatever she gets fallout from this. 100%.
Who do you think has more shame right now? Sherrone Moore or...
My thing is this. I wonder if she's going to get fired from the university after all of this. Because if she's able to keep her job through all of this, that'd be crazy work. I seen it with Ime Udoka for Boston, you know, but this is crazy. It's crazy work. It's crazy work. Again, this is him. This is Sherrone Moore with this girl.
The new head coach of the Michigan Wolverines. He was the interim head coach for a whole lot of games. So he is also a national champion. And he'll wave to the crowd. Sherrone Moore.
You could tell they have something going on. Look. Yeah, see how he quit talking her and try not to give her too much of attention? You could tell. You could tell. And sometimes when you put yourself in a position like that to cheat, to cheat on your wife and kids, and you out in the public with this person, that just shows you right then and there you don't have no kind of morals. Now listen to Ryan Clark.
Have to look at his failures as well. He failed, if these things are true, he failed his family. Yep. He failed the young men he was in charge of leading and coaching. And he also failed a community of coaches who would love to follow him to get an opportunity to coach at a historically great university like a Michigan, to be amongst the names of the Yost and the Schembechlers and the Lloyd Carrs. That was the opportunity that he had that he failed at. And we also have to think about this young lady who was a subordinate and what these accusations or what these actions will do to her for the rest of her life. And so now if you're Sherrone Moore, who was the first African-American head coach at the University of Michigan, there's also a community of coaches that would love to follow in your footsteps that will be partly judged because of your actions. He does have to own that. He does have to, at some point, acknowledge that. He has to be held accountable for that, whether these things are true and someone was after him or not. And so if you're Michigan, you're truly coming from two head coaches in a row, in Jim Harbaugh and also Sherrone Moore, that has let the university down in some way. It is not the level of excellence that we expect from that position that has a responsibility. You know, in Romans 3:23, right, it says, all have fallen short because of sin and fallen short of the glory of God. So Sherrone Moore will be and will have an opportunity to be given grace by his family, by Christ, but he won't get a Bobby Petrino rebound, right? He will be treated like Mel Tucker. He will be treated like Michael Haywood.
I can't listen to him too much. It's just what it is. But I want to get to something else. Now, this is Jamel Hill. Jamel Hill is blaming race on why Michigan head coach Sherrone Moore was fired. She said, though I think Sherrone Moore is a cornball, before we start painting his firing, Mel Tucker, Ime Udoka, as some of the same kind of incidents for black male coaches. Let me remind you of the following names. Hugh Freeze, he just been fired. Bobby Petrino, Rick Pitino, Mike Price, among others. The difference is in who gets a second chance to be a head coach, and I guess you usually get a second chance. But the thing about it, Ime Udoka did get a second chance. If she really paid attention, he's the head coach of the Houston Rockets. He got a second chance. It might didn't happen that year or the following year, but he did get a second chance. Not saying Sherrone Moore is not going to get a second chance, but if he do have some kind of mental health issues capacity, guess what? He's going to get evaluated for it. he's going to get evaluated for it. Simple as that. Before they can even let him be around anybody to show that he can be a coach or be a leader among men, to coach young men and be a role model. And right now, that's not the case. He sacrificed his life and his family life just because he wanted to cheat with somebody younger and then blew all that money. Now he might get a settlement from the university because they could take all or half of that. But guess what? If his wife decides to divorce him, all of that money that he's going to get from the university is going to end up going to her and the kids. And he's still going to be pretty much asked out. Sometimes you got to understand the mistakes that you made to sacrifice your family. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. And it's so sad to see, because we cry and complain so much about Black men getting a chance to be in power. We said it for Black women. But guess what? When you go out here and do stuff like this, it's nobody's fault but your own. You can't blame the white man for your problems. You can't say, well, this white person gets a second chance. It don't matter. You got to take accountability and responsibility for your own action and be accountable for yourself. Yeah, Sherrone family is mixed. That don't really matter. It don't matter what color it is. You failed your family, point blank, period. Now, I'm just going to play this last clip of this 911 call.
5615530 for domestic. Subject just called the caller, told her there's a male at the location in the house attacking her. He's been stalking her for months. 5615530 for domestic.
Now, they sit there and say that this man was stalking this girl for months or whatever the case may be. We don't even know how long this been going on. We don't even know how long the relationship been going on. But the thing about it is, guys, Sherrone Moore got himself in a situation that right now he gonna have to take it. Whatever comes to his way, he gonna have to take it. Now you can sit there and play crazy and say it's mental health or whatever the case may be because you got caught up, because you was out there on the field with your mistress, laughing and giggling with her while they calling your name out of the intercom. But nobody's gonna have sympathy for you. So at the end of the day, it's a sad situation, but we want to say we got to do better. Well, all I can say for Mr. Moore, you got yourself in the pickle, buddy. Now you're going to have to get yourself out. Like, comment, subscribe. This is Livewire Sports Media Unfiltered, 1st and 10. You know what it is.